All right, everyone or no one. Don't never know if anyone is actually watching this. If there's somebody there, certainly make sure you let me know if the sound and everything is working okay. I would assume that it is. I'm just going to continue as it is until someone tells me otherwise. So, all right. So everything, I think, is running a-okay. Let me unmute this for a second. Yeah, it's all working. Okay. So, time to start scanning. Let's go through here and let's do this. Hey, it's me again. And then let's just get right into the charts. I'm a little bit later than I want it to be, but, you know, business calls, right? So the game plan here is going to be the game plan as every Tuesday and Thursday, where we're going to spend half hour, maybe an hour, going through the charts and kind of what my trading plan was for today. And then I'll show you actually any profit or loss that was made as a spoiler. It's a bit of profit today. With what I added to the list on yesterday. So there's going to be a bit of an overlap. The most important thing is I had Loco on the list, and this is basically where all the gains came from as a buy over this open this morning. Right here, let me get my pen up. Right through here. So, as always, this routine is going to get pretty basic, pretty boring, but that's what trading routines are. So again, I use a bit of statistics and a bit of technicals to figure out what it is that I am going to trade. All right, so first we go through the market. Again, I have this list sorted by position in 5-day range. So basically the way you read this is the more green highlighted this bar is, the higher in the 5-day range, and the more red, the lower in that range. So, it's, really nothing, that's it. That's all there is to it. So you can see here for this week, most things are in the low end of the 5-day range, which makes perfect sense with the action that we had over the last little bit. I should change that name. It's not a live day trading robot right now. We'll call it scanning for tomorrow's trade. Because a lot of what I do, most of what I do, is actually this. Most of what I do is finding stocks tonight that I think will have a pretty good chance to move tomorrow, and plugging them into the Trade Ideas bot to get auto traded for me. So again, it's a little bit late getting here, but let's hammer through this kind of as quick as we can from there. So we'll quickly go through. So UNG is in the top end of its range, still battling this 200 period moving average. This orange line here, I keep this here just because I think it's a very important average that a lot of other people watch. No magic on that, but we're still battling it. But it actually looks pretty bullish in through here. And something like UNG isn't going to be something that's going to matter too much with the market, right? It's an individual asset and it trades on its own. So UNG is actually looking relatively strong compared to the market. TAN, the solar ETF, is just been on fire, right? There's absolutely no reason to bet against the solar market right now. I think you'd be kind of crazy too. And it's putting in this nice little bull flag. So this kind of shows me that anything that I'm watching that's going to be from that solar industry is something that I'm really going to focus on more. And again, I see some people trickling in. Don't worry, we just got started here. Looking here at bonds also battling in this 200 period moving average area, relatively strong to the market, but nothing crazy one way or the other there either. Looking up there at Bitcoin, it's really nothing going on. Next on the list is IYR. Again, I go through this list every single night. I go through it every weekend on weekly charts, and then I go through it at the end of every month on monthly charts, which I think is those will actually line up this week, so I'll be good. That saves me going through all of them again. So real estate, so we always want to compare this back to the overall market, right? We want to go to the not the SAT, we want to go to the SPY. And we want to see this is what's happened with the SPY recently, right? And then we want to compare all of these in relative to that, right? So we can also see here on the chart, and this is another beauty that I love sorting these indicators right here, is here's the SPY and its position in 5-day range. So from a short-term point of view, any ETF above this has relative strength, and any ETF below this is relative weakness. So if I'm looking to buy stocks, I'm going to focus in this area here as we go through our charts. And I mostly swing trade from the long side. Again, most of these stocks that I'm talking about are actually going to be day trades over the next little bit because of just the market that's going on there. So semiconductors relatively strong and a nice kind of push open today. Gap down with the market yesterday. Held a bit and then actually pushed quite a bit higher than the market into that gap anyway. The Qs outperforming the SPY as well. Some interest there. IBB, which is our biotech, again outperforming the SPY, but just kind of barely with this doji right here. And you guys know I focus heavily on dojis and different indecision type candles. Let me make this a little cleaner by doing something like that. There we go. So indecision happening in through here. Silver, again, it's everything took this big hit the other day. The news behind it about stimulus kind of has me slightly worried, but not too much. Again, Canadian, no political chat here. XLF still relatively strong over the last 5 days, but barely, but well under its 200-day moving average. So for a longer term move, this is harder. So, for me, for financials, it would need to clear this area and hold in order to be bullish on financials at all. SPY holding above its 200 period moving average, right? This is the overall market. The area to watch on the SPY for me, I think is pretty obvious that it's kind of right here. If we hold that area, then great, and if not, that's what we really gotta focus on. XHB, again, these things that are stronger on the here's the position in year range. The things that are stronger here on the year range seem to be getting hammered more on this little pullback than a lot of other things. So that's something that may be interesting to note as well. Utilities holding up as they do in these type of downturns, as well as minerals. Retail, again, relatively over the last 5 days is weak, but is overall quite stronger. Right. So if we look at this trend line here, that's going to be the interesting thing, right? Do we break down through this trend line, or is this just a bounce higher? Again, with the election coming, I think that we get more of this going into that election season. Healthcare looking a lot like the SPY, and the USO just crap, right? Oil's just crap. So That's how I start with, and then from there I want to clear out yesterday's list, and I want to create a new list, because again, this is the list that will be traded by the robot completely hands off without me tomorrow. We had alarm, and that didn't work, and really none of these triggered except that. I'm gonna leave that one on. I'm gonna leave that one on. Leave that one on. Pizza, we had a good day trade. If you guys were here on Tuesday when we did this, you can see that, right, pizza did very well the day after. So I actually got that trade, and I got out most of that yesterday, and then had a break-even stop on the rest that was hit today. Just usually not my style to scalp like this, but with everything going on, with the election coming up, I am in pure scalp mode, so that the day before that I can be in cash, and then the day after start to see, right, look at the news, kind of see what happened there, and see if the market's kind of chilled out. So there we go. That's me getting rid of the old ones, but keeping a couple, just because they held up very well. And that's kind of the quest for these type of things. When I'm looking for, okay, the market's getting hammered, what do I play from the long side? Because again, I'm mostly a long player. I've just done my math over the last years, and it's performed better than not being long. That's just where I focus. So then I focus on relative strength, and I always focus on relative strength. So question, I have Tesla, an average of $3.99 with a portfolio of 80% cash. Should I get out of this too and get an all cash? Again, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just some asshole on the internet, so I'm not going to give you actual advice. But my advice of what do I do with a stock? That's your trading plan when you got into the stock should have told you what to do when to get out of the stock. Again, for me, from the election, I'm going into cash because of the volatility that I think is going to happen, and as well as it's just a good idea for me to take a reset on my swings. I usually have anywhere from 3 to 5 swings open, and I like to go to cash. Thanks for the live stream. No problem. I was going to start about a half hour ago, but I had some other business calls that I had to take care of. I like this way better than the morning ones. I'm not a morning person, and I let the robot trade for me, so it's kind of boring. So Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time is probably when I will go live and scan for what to put in the next day. So for Tesla, quick chart analysis, again, not telling you what to do. I don't want any government body to come after me. It's looking pretty strong. It's already gone through earnings, so you have that out of the way. Again, just know the election is coming, and there's going to be some craziness there. So, okay, now that we have done the analysis of the overall markets, and love from Toronto, all right, love from Halifax. Now that we've done the overall market wrap up, and we know, things are hurt. They're not hurt a bit. They're not hurt a lot, but they're not good right now. We want to be very picky on what we're going to take in tomorrow, and we're going to look for relative strength, right? So as I'm going through these charts, and again, these are all just different scans, I have set up a trade ideas that are different patterns in which I like to focus. We want to look for relative strength. So for example, this ZGNX is definitely going to be on the list for tomorrow, just because of what happened here, right? So the market got hammered on this yesterday and a little bit today, and then you can see this actually held 20 really strong and then pushed up. So if it breaks this high, it can get into the gap here pretty well. And again, we're most of the time you'll see me focus on swing trades, but right now I'm focused a lot on day trades. So my question I need to ask myself is, tomorrow, do I think if it breaks this area and all of the requirements I put in there, right? I tell the algo I don't want to trade in the first 5 minutes, and I don't want to trade if the volume's really weak, and I don't want to trade all of these things. Do I think that we're going to get a green candle tomorrow, which just means, right, close higher than it opened? And if we break this, I think that's going to be a decent possibility. So we'll add that to the list. Groupon, I remember Groupon's always such a slow mover. It does look interesting here. Yeah, we're going to add that to the list too, just because of some relative strength. Our DOS looks good, but look at that 200-day moving average kind of right above us. Other thing to note is on the other ones, I said that there was a delay. I got rid of that delay just because we're not doing it during trading hours, so I don't technically have to. According to TradeIDs, have a delay on. I can run it as real time as possible, and that's what I'm doing. So any chat interaction should be way better than it was in prior streams. And again, if this is something you guys like and, you know, people actually watch and they share around and all of that, then it's something I'll certainly continue to do. Trying to convince Jess to do some with our Back to Basics, which there's another episode out today. So go check out the channel. We did one on our multiple trading, which I personally believe is the most important lesson when it comes to trading, beyond, you know, the basics of what you need to learn. It is this concept of our multiple trading that I think is most of my success. The fact that I'm risking a certain percentage of my account, and as my account grows, I'm able to pile in more and more while keeping my risk on a percentage basis the same. That's why I was able, you know, one of my accounts this year is up 150%. It's not because I was good enough to put it all in a stock that went up 150%. It has to do with the fact that, you know, these little 2 to 3% gains, you know, you get that kind of compounding effect. So definitely check that out. That's a great lesson for even kind of experienced traders. A question on actually Twitter about if I know mostly long, what do I trade short at all and what? And I usually, if the market's going up and the market's going up kind of considerably, you get very, you know, small candles, right? And when the market's going down, you're getting volatility expansion and larger range. So if I'm betting short on the market, I'm doing it in such a way. And I just realized how bad the frame rate is on this camera, so I'll clean that up for next stream. But I will short the indexes, right? Because you can actually get 2, 3, 4% moves over a couple days on it. And if I'm long, I'm going to long the other one. Do I think Apple will gap down more? Apple. Maybe. Was it earnings? I'd be careful. I'm a follower of Apple. It's actually one of the only stocks that I day trade quite frequently. I wouldn't bet too hard against Apple. I wouldn't be buying it on a move like that. But I wouldn't bet too hard against Apple just because they're coming out with their own chips soon, and I'm going to add Dunkin' on here. Again, the thing I'm watching on Dunkin', you guys probably see, I also have a price alert here, so I'm watching it in a couple different ways, is it holding this $100 area. It has earnings tomorrow morning, so it may just blow all that out of the water, but we'll see. But yeah, and I know a guy who actually got a hold of one of those developer kits for their own chips, for their computers that they put out. And he's doing, I can't give away his business, but he's doing some machine learning work. And he said that he had a giant gaming monster rig doing this machine learning work. And it was taking about 5 hours. And we're talking, you know, like a 12-core processor and 64 gigs of RAM and 2 video cards running an SLI, like an absolute beast. And this machine learning work he was doing was taking about 5 hours a night. He got this little developer kit, which was, you know, the basically the a Mac Mini that they gave to developers to start programming for their chips, and it has the same chip as, there's my iPad Pro in it. So it's a chip that powers iPads, for Christ's sakes, and it is doing the same work that was taking 5 hours in 3 minutes. Which, when he told me, I was like, what, no, 3 hours? 5 hours to 3 hours? No, 5 hours with a giant Intel monster of a chip to 3 minutes. So, again, from a fundamental point of view, I wouldn't be betting against them for sure. But, again, as a technical guy, I can't bring myself to buy it unless it kind of gets over this declining trend line that's going on here. If it gets above here, I think they're going to announce those new computers in November. If it gets over there in November and holds, I may be looking to take a shot on that for a move higher. But yeah, I was floored when I was talking to this guy. He was like, it's completely changed our business. And, as soon as they come out with these real Mac Minis that are going to have more powerful chips designed for desktops, it's going to blow what we're doing completely out of the water. So I'm going to buy 10. So, as a trader, that got me thinking. He's a small, tiny shop, and if he's going to buy 10, imagine what some of these other bigger machine learning places. I actually took that to Trade Ideas, and I said, we're going to take a look at it to see if it's something that helps our ability to process data in a faster way. I'm going to add HZO here. Earnings are behind us. Big, huge engulfing candle that engulfed a whole bunch of candles yesterday, and then this little inside day. So if we get above here, the next resistance point's up here at 34. So I'm going to add that one. And don't worry if anyone's coming in late. I'm not going to be on nearly as long this time, maybe only another few minutes, just because I was late getting here, and it's getting near 7 o'clock my time. But just want to make sure that I have a healthy list of things to trade coming into tomorrow. And, again, managing these things a little bit more aggressively. The other thing I've had quite people say, listen, you can program Trade Ideas better than most. Why don't you get very specific scanners? I'm going to add Fiverr here. FIFVRR. I'm just adding it to this account, which is a paper account, and it's what I demo for you. And when I look over here and I type, it's because I'm adding it to my my live account as well. Why don't I get a couple scans that have very limited symbols to them, and then just look at those? And the reason that I always give is that I think there's a certain benefit of me, sitting here. I've got, chill music going on in my headphones, and going through a couple hundred charts a night, where there's, it's not necessarily the fun part of trading, but Trade Ideas makes, you can see how quick and seamless this popping through is. I think there's a big benefit to us there as well. I'm going to add Aqua. Looking here on Aqua at this bull flag. Ooh, that is the worst drawn line ever. Let's use the mouse of the trackpad, right? This bull flag that's happening after this big move. And if we zoom in and we just look at today's candle, we have a little spinning top inside day and the high end of yesterday's candle. So that's enough. Earnings really far away. So that's enough to take a look at that for me. All right, and now this one, again, these are looking for, all of these are inside days, which again is built with customs, so I can't share these, but it's sorted by relative volume. Allergies, sorry. So when I get to the point where I'm at now, where, it's about 1.2 relative volume, I'm going to add that guy in too. big strong push up and then a little pullback here inside spinning top, high end of yesterday's range. When I start getting into this where it's, one relative volume, I'm less interested because I'm looking for, I want to be in profit right away. It's just the way that I trade. I don't want to sit in a stock for days not knowing, what's going on, right? Not having again, watch the video, I guess, that we posted today for our multiple trading, and that will explain why, where, I risk about 1% to 0.5% of the value of my account on every trade. And the goal is to make 2 or 3% of the value of my account on winning trades, and just run the math from there. If I'm risking 0.5% to make 2 or 3%, I don't have to be right very often. If I'm right half of the time, that's more than good enough. But for me, it's all about growing what that let's say 1% number is. So, say you have a $100,000 account and you're risking 1%, 0.5%. So you're risking $500 in every given trade. As your account grows, that risking $500 on every single trade grows to, you double your account, you're risking $1,000, and then you double it again and you're risking $2,000, right? Which is 4 times that original $500. So the more that you can turn over that trade quicker, the better that you get that, or the more that you get that are multiple trading, right? So, again, it's something that I focus on heavily, where I want to say, if the trade's not working in the first day or so, I'm out and I'll find another trade, or I'll get back in if it does start working, because I just don't really see a big deal here. So you'll notice I have an RSI down here in the chart as well, and this is something, again, I'm just studying it. I don't really make trades off it, but for example, this Cinemark, it's a movie theater, would be an example of an RSI divergence with price moving down, so the price was making lower lows here, but you see the RSI was actually making higher lows. Something interesting, maybe I'll add this one to the list and trade it small just to see, start testing it. But the theory being that it's kind of showing that momentum is waning and that it's a good way to pick tops and bottoms, which isn't something that I do a whole lot of. The list is filling up nicely, so I think we're going to put maybe another 1 or 2 on it and then call it a day. No need of having hundreds of stocks on the list, because I'm only going to trade the first few each day that come through anyway, right? So now I'm looking at these short floats. This scan is basically just ranking stocks by how short they are and making sure that they're near a short-term moving average, just to make sure they haven't run way up already or way down already. I keep them close to the 10-period moving average. And again, no magic to the 10 period. Here'd be another RSI divergence, right, with this pushing up while this is pushing down. And again, the theory is that when this occurs, you wait for some sort of entry signal. So for this, it might be over 10. So actually, let me put in a price alert and just say RSI. Again, just studying, because although I have things that work for me and I like them, there's no reason why you wouldn't be constantly looking for, another play. The more, because again, this is a lot. It's a numbers game. All of trading is a numbers game, right? It's not about taking a giant bet and getting rich from it. It's about taking lots and lots of tiny little bets with very, very low risk and high potential rewards, and then hopefully, at the end of the year, that asymmetry of risk and reward is the thing that really, really made your year. So as soon as we get down to kind of the 15% short floats is when I'm gonna call it. And again, there's going to be videos out now constantly. There'll be a video out on Monday, which is that new series, which if you haven't checked out, go to the channel, that has basic technical indicators and candlestick patterns. There'll be a back to basics that will come out on Wednesday. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to stream. And then on Friday is my nightly video. So the hope is that, if I get a good system down and I stop myself from being lazy, I'll be able to put out pretty good content on a regular basis, and grow this channel and make it something, because I like doing it. It's just one of those things that I have to value my time, right? It has to be profitable enough, which is why I do a lot of the mentoring and the trade ideas. If you're interested in this product at all, there's a link right down below. They're actually having a test drive. So if you click on the link below, you'll get to the test drive where you get 2 full weeks. Trade ideas test drive. We're having a test drive. Get notified for the next test drive, but if you go on the link below there, the actual next test drive is in early November. No, sorry, late November, after the election, after all that's over with. So it's 2 weeks for $9, and it gets you everything that you need. Levi's, interesting. I don't know why everyone's betting against Levi's. It seems like pants or something that would be a common thing. All right, so now we're down to 15%. So a little bit rushed today, guys. I apologize. Next time I'll start the stream up earlier, because I see that as time goes on is when people are coming in. But this is what we're watching for tomorrow. Here's my watch list. Again, this will get plugged into Trade Ideas auto trading bot, and will get traded for me when certain criteria arises, which is usually some bullish price action at the high or near the high of yesterday's range on some type of volume. Right, the long and short of it. So Groupon, theory here behind Groupon is we have a 16% short float, and we have this declining wedge right here. That also looks like it's a bit of a failed attempt to actually fill the gap. And then we have this strong bullish candle today. Next, we have HZO. Again, theory behind this, only an 8% short float, so nothing huge there, but we had this nice controlled down move that was all erased by this single candle that happened because of earnings. And then we have this inside day that's happening right here. So the theory being, if it breaks this inside day, maybe it takes a little run at highs here. Next is fiber. Sorry, my Ring alarm things. I got the whole place cameraed up, and I was just wondering, just wildlife. 7% short float. Pull back to 150, and it's been digging in on 150. So I think if it breaks higher here, again, we have a potential run at highs there. IAA, we've actually had this on here a couple days, but it's never really got going. I just like the fact that it's holding up much stronger than the market and putting in this bull flag. In fact, we'll actually I also grab the screenshots while I'm doing this of a couple of these I will tweet out. If you're not following me on Twitter, what are you doing with your life? AQUA, Aqua, bullish engulfing candle yesterday and a little spinning top on top of that. Really no short float to speak of, but just really, really strong stock. Not much of a mover, right? So you got to think that from here to these highs are only $1.50. So you'd have to get pretty big in order to make that kind of worth your while. AIMC, we've had this on since our last stream as well, just doing a good job of holding in this gap. And every time it gets pushed down here, if we scroll in, take a look at the candles, this is why I love candles so much, is because they just tell you what the investor sentiment is. Every time that gets pushed down, there's someone that comes in and reverses that trade higher. BHVN, again, just holding strong with a 17% short float. A lot of bottoming tails in this area showing strength reversing there. Duncan, we're probably not going to end up trading this one because it does have earnings in the AM. But the fact that it held $100, as long as it holds $100, it's something that I'm interested in. ZGNX, we just liked the relative strength that's occurring here, where we have this big up move right here that is just kind of blowing the pants off of the market here, which is, it's been weak. And if we go to ZGNX, we can say this one's holding pretty strong. JMIA was a high flyer through here. We're talking $5 to $20, pulled back to $6, and now it's running again, and it's put in this bull flag. But actually notice the candles on this bull flag. Each one has a bottoming tail. That's a bit interesting. So, again, to me, showing that there's someone who is buying this stock intraday on pullbacks. CNX we're putting on the list as an experiment because this RSI divergence, not usually something I trade, but it could be potentially putting in a higher low here. Generally, I like to trade strong stocks long, but again, I want to branch out from what I do, and I think it's always important to devote a certain amount of your risk to experimentation. SMBR, another high tight base holding the moving average well with a 17% short float. So that is the list. That's what I'm watching for tomorrow. I'm just making sure that I actually have all of these things in my live account, because I show you guys this other account, which is more about demoing and JMIA. Just making sure I've done all this. CGNX, that's on here as well. DN, because the moment I am done these streams, I usually close the little laptop, and that's it. That's the last thing I'll do, other than tweet these out. That's the last thing I'll do for trading today, and then I'm done. In theory, I don't need to look at my screens or look at my my stocks or anything until tomorrow evening, because again, the robot will trade this for me, which I'm telling you guys, if you haven't invested in some sort of auto trading system like a Trade Ideas, again, link is in the description. It's changed my life, where it's doing this legwork that I used to do myself and hate in the morning. So all right, guys, that is it. Thanks for coming by. A new video out for Back to Basics today. Check that out on the channel. And then a new video will be out tomorrow, which will be the wrap up. Spoiler alert for most of you guys, there's not a lot that triggered from this week as well. I'm just looking over there. We had one good trade, but I won't jinx it by talking about it this time. We'll check that out in the video on tomorrow, and there won't be any video for the next week because I'm going to skip that week entirely and just sit in cash, because again, things are crazy. All right, guys, thanks for stopping